Well, hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Christine Kiesinger, and I want to warmly welcome all of you here. We've got people here joining us from all over the globe, and we've got some of us here on Zoom and some of us who are joining us through Facebook Live. And I'm so glad that you're here. Today is really special. I serve as Vice President of Development, and I'm also lead facilitator of mindfulness meditation, conscious communication, and emotional intelligence for Studio B. And the session that's about to unfold before you today is part of a twice monthly interview series that we've been offering for the last 6 months. We bring together teachers, researchers, scholars, and experts, all in the hopes of enhancing your well-being on a wider range of topics. And so tune in for future interviews and go ahead and take a look at our blog where we publish all of our previous interviews. So today we have Sophie Sabbage with us, and I'm going to introduce Sophie in a formal way, and then you're going to get to meet her in a very real way. Her voice, her humanity is so raw and so real, and I feel honored, truly honored, to be facilitating this interview. Just a couple of housekeeping things. Please make sure that you stay muted. If you have any questions, put them in the chat, because we're going to have a really rare opportunity to watch Sophie work. And I want to acknowledge Alan, who's here, who so willingly has dedicated his time so that we can watch Sophie lead him through a really profound process. And I really want to encourage you to grab a pen and a pad, because we are all in many ways the same, and you can guide yourself through as you're watching and listening. So, Sophie Sabbage is the author of 3 life-transforming books, including the Sunday Times bestseller, The Cancer Whisperer, and her new audiobook, Awakenings in the Time of Coronavirus. She is a mindset alchemist, take that in, who has equipped thousands of people to find grace in grit and life and growth during their most challenging moments. She is the leader of an award-winning business consultancy for 20 years, specializing in cultural change and transformational leadership. She is an outstanding speaker with a global audience, corporate clients, and a gift for reading people and cultures. I encourage you to check out her TED Talk, How Grief Can Help Us Win. It's a showstopper. She is a renowned stage 4 cancer thriver, who knows more than most about how to be creative in crisis and how to find emotional freedom in the midst of the most constraining circumstances. She is a mere mortal who has been to the north and the south poles of her resilience to stay alive. That's one of the most powerful biographies I've read.
Yeah, I'm thinking I've got to live up to that now. No pressure.
Sophie, the way that I want to begin to sort of set the stage for what I anticipate is going to unfold is, I want to begin with a couple of passages that I wove together from the introduction of the new audiobook, Awakenings in the Time of Coronavirus, because I think that will set the stage.
Sure.
And I also weave in just a couple of questions that came up for me as I heard these passages. Okay? So Sophie writes, as within, so without. And I want to preface this by saying that prior to what I'm about to read, Sophie is talking about in her book the reluctance and the fighting that has gone on over wearing masks. As within, so without. I wonder what would happen if people fought this hard to remove the masks they were hiding behind long before this crisis came. The "I'm fine, but not really" mask, the "prove I'm not good enough" mask, the "don't see my weakness" mask, the "don't show my pain and my fear and my loneliness" mask. The masks that are being unmasked by COVID-19 life shocks, if we pay enough attention. Sometimes, when we are not listening, the universe sends us crystal clear life shocks to stir us out of our slumber. And I ask in my own journaling, what would life give me to wake me up? What would life give all of you to wake you up? What would life give me to lift me out of emotional lockdown? Fraser, Giselle, and Susie are the main characters in Sophie's audiobook. They're real people. They are us. And what's interesting about the book is we get to hear her working with them as she talks with them about their life shocks that are very different, yet very the same, quite the same universally. So we can see ourselves in their stories. And so where I want to begin, Sophie, is three things. Number one, what is a life shock? Number two, how does a crisis like COVID, social unrest, a heated political environment give us an invitation to take off our masks?
Okay.
And three, what is your process? The floor is yours.
Okay, let's just dive right in. I just want to start by saying thank you for the invitation, and it's my honor and privilege to be here and to be talking about this. So your first question, what is a life shock? Very simply, a life shock is an unexpected, unwanted, sometimes blindsiding moment in time. So it can be anything from getting a bill in the post to getting a cancer diagnosis or a COVID-19 diagnosis. So there are many, we have dozens a day, but the simplest way to describe it is that there are moments when my expectation of how I think my day should go, how I think the world should be, how I think you should be, how I think I should be, runs headlong into how things really are. So there are collision points between my expectations of the world and the world as it really comes to me. So, for example, let me speak about the coronavirus situation. What happens with the life shock is the life shocks challenge our conditioning and our unconscious thinking and our unconscious beliefs. And they keep coming until we pay attention. We want to return a lot of them to sender, return them to sender. I really don't want this to be happening, but they keep on coming. And to me, it seemed that the coronavirus, very tough as it has been and continues to be, has manifested really quite literally pre-existing psychological and spiritual conditions and states of mind that do not serve us anymore. We were already emotionally locked down, for example. Many people. There's an epidemic of loneliness that is killing more people than cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. But it's so stigmatized, people aren't speaking about it. So isolation and loneliness are nothing new. We're already distanced from one another. We sit on the train looking at our phones. There's already distancing. And I think the biggest thing for me is, I've really been watching this row about masks, and I just want to shout, you're already wearing them. You're already wearing them. And the masks that matter are the masks of our pretense and our fear and all the ways we hide and all the ways we play small and all the ways we conceal our fear and our loneliness and our grief and our pain. So it seems like a very explicit, like write it on the blackboard. The big cosmic cheese sometimes just writes it on a blackboard. Hello, hello. This is how you're already living.
And when you listen just to the introduction of your book and you lay all of that out, it's like, well, what would life give all of us to wake us up to our social isolation, to all the masks we're wearing, a global pandemic, social unrest, right? And it's as you said, it's like, I'm throwing the brick in your face. Wake up. You know, every time I put a mask on now, that's what I think about. I'm putting the mask on in the realization of all the masks that I've had to take off over the course of the last 6 months. As within, so without. Because I started thinking, how are these external circumstances reflections of what's happening inside of me and my own life?
It's a grand design. It's a grand design, and I've worked with life shocks and taught people how to engage with them for nearly 30 years. And brutal as they can sometimes be, I have unwavering faith in life shocks as awakeners of the human spirit. And this is a massive tsunami, alongside Black Lives Matter, alongside the climate crisis, alongside, hello, I mean, we're in deep, deep trouble. We're in deep, deep trouble. And we need, if we don't wake up and pay attention, we're in very deep trouble. So it's just, to me, it's getting louder and louder and louder and louder. And this was a profound and is a profound invitation for us to connect. It's the first time the entire world has faced the same crisis.
Yes.
So what are we going to do? Add more division by going, you're a COVID-idiot for not wearing a mask, or you're a COVID-idiot for wearing a mask? I mean, it's just more of the same divisive, angry, judgy energy that the entire situation is inviting us to dissolve and bring more love and honor and respect to one another across boundaries.
So your Cancer Whisperer work followed by Life Shocks, correct? The book?
Yeah.
And now Awakenings. When one needs only watch your TED Talk to see sort of the journey that you've taken through these 3 books and how they are a complete reflection of your own lived experience. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, BC, before cancer, I've been doing this kind of work for a very long time, and I've come through significant crises and traumas in that time. But I think cancer, being given a few months to live, I was told I was unlikely to see my daughter's 5th birthday. She turned 10 in lockdown, by the way. It really required me to walk my talk like I've never walked it before. And I watched myself dying. I was in the early months. I watched myself dying. Someone said, you're going to die. It was very interesting. And within 24 hours, I started dying. And I wasn't dying before. I was told I was going to die. I was gravely ill, but I said to my husband, I need to treat my mind while they figure out how to treat my body. And so it became really the most creative, transformational, and wondrous period of my entire life. I found the awe in awfulness, and it required me to shed any dregs that were left in me of my life doesn't matter. My life doesn't matter. And life went, really? Really? How much are you going to value your life? How much are you going to value your life? It's time. It's time. When are you going to let it go? And it also brought me to my knees with what's called preemptive grief. And I think grief is the emotion I'd left on the sidewalk, as you would say, most of my life. I'd done a huge amount of work on fear and anger and resentment, but I'd never engaged with grief. And the prospect of leaving my kid to grow up without me, I was on my knees with it for days and days and days. And then I learned that grief in Chinese medicine lives in the lungs. Well, I have lung cancer. You know, you can't make it up. Sometimes it's just really, really clear what the inner work is that needs to be done. And I think the other books followed really because one of my deep regrets was that I'd never written a book. I was lacerated with regret about all the things I wished I'd done that I hadn't done, and all the things I had done that I wished I hadn't done. And I picked up some of my dreams and dusted them off, and one was to be a writer. So I've written three books since my diagnosis.
So my life doesn't matter, the belief, right? Going back to what I said in the opening, what would life give me to show me that my life mattered, that my life had value? It's like you said, you cannot make this up.
You can't. And I thought I'd handled that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like peeling an onion. You know, you shed one mask, you shed one fear, you shed one shame, and then there's another one. And I don't think it ever stops. I think when it stops, it's game over, really. You can't grow anymore. So bring it on. But yeah, it really put it to me. How much does my life matter?
Yeah. When do you want to start with Alan?
Well, I think we could start now because it's going to take 20 to 30 minutes.
Sure.
So shall I introduce this process?
Please do. Yes.
Okay. So this is a process. I use it several times a week, actually. I call it my mental floss. And I'm gonna, I recommend you observe it and make notes rather than try to do it yourself at this point. I can say more about how you can learn to do it. But I'm going to take Alan, who I've known for a while, through this process. It's called the clarity process, on a life shock that he hasn't done anything with. I said, come with a life shock that is still painful for you. So this is what it looks like. Hey, Alan, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, Soph.
I'm going to put you on speaker view so I can concentrate on you.
Okay.
So I'm really grateful to you for being willing to come and wear your insides on the outside to a bunch of people you've never met.
Thanks.
Could you just for a minute say a little bit about, you know, where you live, what you do, how many kids you have?
Okay, so I have 3 boys. I live in Essex, in England. I have a business, cleaning business. My boys, one's just finished uni, one's in a band, and the other one's still at school. 58 years old. Been doing the sort of work we talk about for many years. and been a lifesaver for me.
Mm. So you've had some COVID-related life shocks, haven't you?
I have.
Have you got one we can work with today?
Yeah, so the life shock was, I think it was last week when the PM, he announced that obviously there'd been a spike in COVID cases and we was going into stricter lockdowns. And so the life shock moment was, it came up on the phone. So looking at the phone, the headline, I got the notification, the headline came up with the yellow banner, COVID. I tend to get a blip in my stomach every time that comes up anyway, without
So
looking
the
at
yellow banner is the warning level has risen.
Yeah, so the yellow banner comes as a COVID update, and it's like a yellow banner, and then the headline is underneath that. So that came up, and then it was spiking COVID, PM to announce stricter lockdowns, details to follow from Monday. That we were going to get the rule of 6, etc. So it was that.
Okay.
That was the lockdown. That was the life shock.
Okay, so just for those of you who are watching, listening, life shocks are very, very specific, and the specificity is very important, which I'll explain afterwards. So there were several life shocks you've just described. Seeing the yellow warning, then you saw the headline, stricter
COVID, stricter restrictions.
Then you saw what came after that. Then
came households to be restricted to 6 participants. Full details
to follow on Monday.
Yeah, from Monday. Full details will follow the next few days.
Okay, so when you repeat them back to you, which of those moments hits you hardest?
It's probably the yellow banner.
The yellow banner, okay. Would you close your eyes, please? Yeah. And I want you to take yourself back to that moment in time as if it's happening right now. And be there again as if it's happening right now. And tell me where you are when you're looking at your phone.
Sitting in my conservatory.
And are you looking at the phone in this moment?
Yeah, looking at the phone.
What do you see?
So the banner comes up and the noise, the bleep that goes with it.
And when that happens, what do you, take a breath. What do you feel when that happens?
Fear.
Where's the fear in your body?
Stomach.
Can you put your hand on your stomach and bring your breath right into where you feel fear? You feeling it?
Yeah.
Well, what are you telling yourself in this moment?
Here we go again.
Yeah, what else?
It's never going to stop.
Keep going.
Thought we was through it. I'm just kidding myself. I got away with the first round. I won't get through it again. We'll never get through it again. It'd be too much this time. I won't be able to cope. And the business will be lost. I won't recover. It'll create the same problems over again with me and Sally. The chaotic problems that we have with the money issues.
Okay. Take another breath, Emma. If it's never going to stop, then,
We'll never get through it.
and if you never get through it, then
I won't be able to look after the boys.
and if you can't look after the boys, then
I've failed. I failed as a father and a human being.
say that again.
Failed as a father and as a person.
I want you to really feel the pain of that, Alan.
I'll lose my marriage. My whole life will have been a failure.
My whole life will have been a failure. More breath. You need to loosen your jaw, darling. Can you feel how tight it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So if your whole life is going to end up a failure, what do you have to do to stop that being so?
I have to fix it.
Okay, give me the list.
I have to fix it. I have to somehow find a way. I have to somehow find a way to make my life work. I've got to find a solution. I have to find a solution to the problems that are going to come.
And how do you have to be?
I have to be resilient. I have to scheme. I have to find a way through. Whichever way it takes, whatever I have to do, I've got to do it. Nothing else will matter.
Or else?
My whole life will have been a waste.
My whole life will have been a waste. And what would that make you, Alan?
Completely worthless. Might as well have never existed. I might as well have never ever existed.
Ouch. Where are you feeling that in your body right now?
Chest, stomach, my head.
More breath.
I'm completely useless.
I would be completely worthless, completely useless, and I may as well not have existed.
I've kidded myself all along anyway.
Yeah.
It was always going to come to this.
It was always going to come to this because I've been kidding myself about what?
That I can cope.
When in fact,
I can't.
Because I'm
useless. Unworthy.
Okay, Alan. Do you take another very deep breath and open your eyes? That was a trainload of what I call mind talk. I didn't capture it all, but I'm going to remember the key pieces. So before we go to the next step, Alan, how long have you been believing you're completely worthless and useless?
Off and on, about 50 years.
About 50 years. And how long have you been scheming your way through life?
About the same.
To ride over that pain.
Mm-hmm.
Long time, right?
Yeah.
Long time. You said I may as well not have existed.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been chasing your worthiness and usefulness and reason to exist by scheming and driving and fixing
Mm-hmm.
and coping.
Mm-hmm.
I feel exhausted just saying it. How tired are you?
Very.
Say it again. There's a
Very.
part of you that's still...
Yeah,
You
very.
feel your shoulders?
Yeah.
I mean, woof. Your whole body is tight with this.
Mm-hmm.
Tight, 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 like a coil.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take you to the next step now, and I'm not going to do every line.
Yeah.
But the next step, everyone, is that everything you believe is true, false, or don't know. Everything. Now, that's easy to say. It's not necessarily easy to actually get. But I'm going to just pull out some of the big ones, and I want you to verify whether they're true, false, or don't know. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
It's never going to stop. True, false, don't know.
I don't know.
That's you don't
I
know.
have no clue.
I don't know.
I don't know.
We
I have
don't
no
know.
clue. We might get a vaccine next week. We might never get a vaccine. It might burn out. We may get herd immunity. We don't know.
We don't know. We never know. But we believe we know, and the moment we believe we know what's coming, we scare ourselves. So I'm just kidding myself. This is so young. I'm just kidding myself. That's very familiar, right?
Yeah.
True, false, don't know.
It's false. It's just that I'm just kidding myself. Is again underneath it is the accusation that basically I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay and worthwhile and can cope, but I can't really.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, I've always managed and I've thrived and I've coped and I've not coped and I've coped. So that's false as a statement.
And do you, in fact, work quite hard not to kid yourself?
I do.
Like, what are we doing right now?
Yeah, doing this work.
To engage
That
with
I've
how
done
you kid yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never get through it. We'll never get through it.
Don't know. We will get through it, yeah, one way or another.
And we
so
are.
That's false.
It's false.
We are, yeah. False.
I won't be able to cope. True, false, don't know.
That's false. I am coping. I've coped with many crises in my life and traumas. And actually, I cope quite well most of the time.
Yeah. You do cope really well, Alan. And that what I want for you is a life free of coping. So we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
There's so much more to you than that. But let's start with you can cope. It's a good start. So I won't recover, and I'm going to have all the same problems with Sally and money and true, false, don't know.
False. Yeah. It's a don't know, but it's unlikely.
It's unlikely and I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to fix it. Good luck with that.
I can't fix it. I can't fix it.
Good luck with that one.
Much I can.
You'd have global praise if you fixed it.
Yeah, it'd be pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, I have to be resilient.
False. I don't know how I have to be. I can't. You just. Be how you can be. I don't. It's false.
And what's actually already true about your resilience, Alan?
I am very resilient.
Yeah,
Naturally, very resilient.
you are very resilient. So do you have to scheme your way out of this?
I can't scheme. I've had a good go sometimes, but no, that's false.
Plotting and scheming your way around God's plan.
Yeah, not a good idea.
Well, it just doesn't work. You're not that powerful, sorry.
No. Shame, but it's true. I'm not.
Okay, and then capture all the lines, but where we really got to was, if I don't really head this off at the pass and fix it in some way, then I will be worthless.
False.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's false.
What's true about that?
That what I do, the actions or fixing or not fixing, has no bearing on me and my worthiness as a person or as a human being.
Say that again.
My fixing or my behaviours or what I do and don't do has no bearing on me, on my worthiness as a human being.
How about I'm useless?
False. That is false.
And how about it will mean it will be as if I never existed at all?
Yeah, I think it was, I may as well never existed.
I may as well have never, yeah. Really?
Yeah, no, that's false. I've made many contributions to many people in my life. And yeah, that's completely false.
It's also vicious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, really vicious thing to say about your life, dear man.
Mm.
When you said that, my whole being objected, because your life is so precious. You're so precious. I don't know many men who would do what you're doing right now, live.
Thank you.
You give me hope for mankind.
Thank you, Sophie.
So I know there were a few more beliefs, but I think those were the main ones.
Mm.
So the next step is to make some choices. Now, none of what you went through your mind was true.
Mm-hmm.
Not one truth came out of your mouth.
No.
And when you're believing all of that, of course you feel sick in your stomach and your whole body goes tense and your jaw goes tight. How could it not? What are you feeling right now, having just told the truth?
I feel softer and lighter. I feel some sadness.
Yeah, what's that?
That's about the viciousness of pretty much. I was quite shocked at myself when I said I may as well never exist. That's quite a new one for me. I may as well never existed. And that was like, wow, you know. So some sadness about that. I feel lighter. And
The sadness is connecting though, isn't it?
yeah, it's a connecting. It's not a negative.
It's a heart opening, connecting sadness, and a very appropriate response.
Yeah, and it's like I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to myself.
Say that again.
I don't want to do that to myself.
I don't want to do that to myself because I
don't deserve that. And when I'm doing that, I have less to offer and less to contribute to other people. And
even then, does your value rest on you offering and contributing, by the way?
No, no, it doesn't. But
But it matters to you.
it matters because I know when I'm at my best, I have an awful lot to offer and contribute when I'm not running that stuff. And you know, we've go back a long way, and you know that you know. So when I'm running that, it's so diminishing. So that's what the sadness is about as well.
It's time, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
It's time. What would life give you to confront I'm worthless and useless? What would life give you? And what would life give you to show you that you can't fix the unfixable?
Yeah, global pandemic, all of this, and then live shot every day on my phone.
Yeah, this one had your name on it. You go through a life trying to fix the unfixable in the name of making yourself worthy when you already are. Mm-hmm. Your fixing is a kind of an apology for your very existence.
Or a validation.
Well, it's how you validate, except it's a very long tunnel with no cheese at the end of the tunnel.
No.
Zero cheese. So the sadness is you're feeling the cost of what you do to yourself.
Absolutely.
So hooray for your sadness right now. So in light of all of this, what do you choose to do going forward, and how do you choose to be with yourself?
I choose to forgive myself and let go of that stuff, particularly the may not have existed, and also is to, you know, just when those life shocks that you keep getting delivered day in, day out, is just to, you know, just watch what my mind's doing and just let it go and breathe through it and take a stand on, you know, I'm worthy, and I don't have, you know, I don't have to fix this. And the truth of the matter is, it's what we're all experiencing is none of us know the outcome, and we can't know the outcome. And it's really a day by day process because we don't know where it's going, and choose to embrace that and see what, you know, and my journey and all of that. So,
yeah, because you get the chance to surrender your omnipotence, you know, to your need to control. I mean, this is confronting everyone's need to control.
Absolutely.
I mean, we are not in control, peeps. No, right. You are not in control, but you are in control of what you believe. You're always in control of that. Mm-hmm. What are you feeling now?
Relief. Space, some lightness, mainly relief.
Yeah. Thank you, Alan. You are an inspiration to me and many, and if any of you are on the Zoom call who want to say some words to him in the chat, some words of gratitude or acknowledgement, please do that. And thank you for showing everyone what this looks like.
No problem. My pleasure.
And that, Christine, is the clearing process, the clarity process.
Yeah. And Alan, thank you so much. It was incredible to watch, and I'm glad that you prompted us to watch, because I could see the transformation in Alan's nonverbals, which began after you asked him to relax his jaw. And then when you started to ask him yes, no, or what is it? Yes, no.
True, false, don't know.
Oh, true, false, don't know. there was such a lightness
Mm-hmm.
and even some humor coming forth. And so tell us about what happened, because I lost track.
Well, here's what happens. This is the nature of the human condition. We lie to ourselves a lot. I mean, when you're scared, when you're angry, though there is another anger I can speak about, but when you're scared, frustrated, when you're in emotional pain, unless you have a clinical condition, there are exceptions, you are lying to yourself about something. And the lies that we that are usually unconscious, we walk around with them unconsciously, they add suffering to suffering. I mean, we suffer in life. There's pain, there's joy, there's the whole gamut. But I would say 90% of human suffering is self-generated. You know, something happens, COVID hits, the yellow alert goes. This was a small life shock. This was not a big trauma. And the amount of fear his own mind took him into is a testament to how much suffering he created in response to that yellow alert. And the really good news about that is that if we're causing our own pain, then we can free ourselves from our own pain. We just need to learn how to do that. And I mean, this is a process that once you've got it, you've got it. And I don't know how to stop the mind lying to you, except with the frontal lobotomy. But I do know that this can take literally 20 minutes to move you from a state of fear and despair to lightness of being and hope. Because all Alan did was let go of the lies and let go of the self-accusations and let go of the demands that he has to fix the unfixable, that he has to cope with life instead of just living life. So this is one of the tools that I've been teaching for a long time, and it saved my life 6 years ago. I mean, I was doing this every single day when I was dying, and I have no doubt that if we don't take hold of our fear, Christine, our fear takes hold of us and it runs the show and it makes our decisions for us. And fear, is false evidence appearing real. You know, fear is the opposite of love. Hate isn't the opposite of love. Fear is the opposite of love. And when we're in that state, we separate, isolate, emotionally lock ourselves down, distance ourselves, and put masks on. And Alan wears a coping mask and a fix-it mask. That's his mask. Well, what would life give him? To strip off the mask and have him claim his value and his worth and the preciousness of his very existence.
A global pandemic.
A global pandemic. And in his case, a little yellow alert on his phone.
Which is amazing. I mean, the life shock that you chose, the little yellow alert, and where we were able to go with him in that. Very, very deep. Mm. And when you said, none of what you said was true.
Not one thing he said was true.
Yeah.
Not one thing. Have tos are false. Shoulds are false. Absolutes are false. If you know, I have to cope, false. I can cope, true. It sounds simple, but when you're doing it, actually, the mind will fight for this, because, I mean, let me introduce the crafty little sucker to you, okay? So here's the crafty little sucker. So Alan sees a little red light, and his mind talk, his ego mind, says, you can't cope. You've been kidding yourself. you useless, worthless waste of space, scumbag loser, or what, like that. And then we wonder why we're in pain, hopelessness, and despair. So we can learn to put a ring in its nose and bring it to heel. And this is one of the ways you can do that. You're not your mind. You have a mind. And I think it's important to, I just want to just make a note of, he was sad at the end of his sadness. And that to me was how I knew he truly shifted, because this is not a happy pill. This is not about positivity or being upbeat or any of that. Positivity is no more helpful than negativity, in my opinion. It often, you know, paints pretty clouds in the sky that aren't there. His sadness was real. So it takes you to a place of authenticity where you can have all your joy and all your sorrow. And when we can have all our joy and all our sorrow, then we are fully alive. That's called being a human being. So let's not try and, you know, make everything nice and pretty. It's not.
Yeah, and when Alan said, I'm sad, and it was about, I'm sad at what came out of my mouth about myself, you know, as I don't know if you use the word, or Alan, if you use the word, the viciousness of it.
Yeah, I called it
vicious. Sad, yeah. And there was a softening that was very visible, and I could hear it in your voice as well.
And he shocked himself when that came out, because it was so unconscious. And what I did was, by going back to the life shock moment, that particular moment in time, you unlock the beliefs and the emotion that you felt at the time.
Yeah.
You unlock them. Now, if you look back on that moment and reflect upon it or analyze it, you won't get to that stuff. Which is why some people spend years in psychoanalysis, but going back to the moment in time unlocks the whole lot. And what I did was help him make his unconscious thinking conscious. And once it's conscious, you can see it in the clear light of day for the bullshit that it usually is.
When you say the moment, are you referring to the moment of the yellow banner coming? So you took him to this moment, which seemed very like a moment, literally, just a brief thing that happened. And then the other thing I noticed is you immediately took him into his body.
So I got him to re-experience it as if it's happening now. Go back and be there again as if it's happening right now. And once he was in the moment again, the feelings instantly came. He was instantly in the emotion. And I just asked him where it was in his body. Yeah, because its feelings are below the neck, in case anyone is wondering about that.
What is this?
And the feeling, when you go to the feeling, and you just say, well, sometimes I would ask, what does the feeling want to say? In this case, I said, what are you telling yourself right now? Out it came.
Yeah.
So these are like, each step unlocks the unconscious material.
Yeah. And we can see this, well, for those of you who are listening, to listen to the three characters in the book, Fraser, Giselle, and Susie, going through the same process, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they well, I took, yes, with different twists on it. I did a grief process with Fraser as well, which is different to this process. But I take them through these processes on COVID-19 life shocks. And I think one of the things I think can be so powerful about true, false, don't know is that don't know is as liberating as false.
Yes.
It's as liberating as false. Like, I really don't know what's going to happen. And I really don't know. To me, I live in that space. I have a brain tumor while I'm speaking to you. I've got round 5 of brain tumors right now. But I don't know how long I've got. I don't know what the treatment can do for me. It's a don't know. And as long as I'm in the sacred space of not knowing what is going to happen, you know, that is where we're poised for epiphany and revelation, and where life can reveal itself to us. But when we're going, I know what's going to happen, I know what's going to happen, I know what's going to happen, we go down that tunnel of predicting the future, then we generate fear and terror and anxiety. That is unnecessary suffering.
Yeah. So there's an openness in the I don't know. There is an openness where insight and epiphany and guidance and direction is possible versus trying to predict the future or reaching back into the past to what was.
Yeah, because if you think you know, and when you're, you know, we see the world through, it's like we see the world through this. Well, there's no more treatment for me, and I'm running out of options, and this tumor's going to take me out, and I can't cope, and I can't handle it, and my daughter's going to leave me, and all of this, and or Alan going, I'm worthless, I'm useless. But when we're doing that, we can't see what's possible. You know, we can't see the possibilities, because there's a lot of talk about become a truth seeker. No, be a lie seeker. Seek the lies, hunt them down, slay them. Because when you do that, the truth is just what remains. There's like an orchard of ripe plums waiting to be picked. Yeah. You know, Alan just started to see possibilities. He didn't need to seek the truth. He needed to slay the lies. And I'm sorry, I'm a bit passionate about this. And not knowing it's so liberating. It's all the knowing that causes so much pain.
Your imagery, this will stay with me. The locked up nature of the knowing, of trying to be in the knowing,
yeah.
and what that prevents.
Yeah, it really does. If you're hearing a bit of noise, my daughter just got home, by the way. She just came home. So, yeah, true, false, don't know. Everything you think is true, false, or don't know. Everything. And when you can master that practice, then you can find a lot of orchards with a lot of plums. And, you know, I was given 6 months. They did not know. And no one knows my use by date. No one. So I get to relish every day, every life-drenched day, because I don't know. How cool is that?
Amazing. Amazing. It is 2:58, so I want to be mindful and respectful of everyone's time, and I really, really want to encourage you to listen to the audiobook, right? Awakenings in the Time of Coronavirus. Is there anything you want to leave us with? Any final words? Maybe share a little bit about where we can find you.
Yeah, my website is sophiesabage.com, Sabbage like cabbage, double B, where you can find out more about my work. My new book is on Audible. It's internationally available. It's on Google Play. But you can find me and my work at sophiesabage.com, and my handle is @SophieSabbage.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was a gift. And I'm sorry we didn't get to questions. This was just such a very, very rich hour. And Alan, I'm so happy you were with us today, and so much gratitude, truly. And there will be many people watching the replay of this. And again, it was this is the first interview we've done that went live on Facebook. So a lot of people are going to see this and benefit. Yeah.
Well, thank you for creating the opportunity to share this with more people. It matters and it works.
Thank you. Everyone, have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are in the world. And again, Alan, Sophie, thank you so much, so much. Take good care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.